So last week we talked about leading yourself well. Does anybody remember anything from last week that stuck with you? Maybe this one has to be interactive. You guys are leaders. It is not going to be as quiet as our new consultant training.
So I remember just um, being the same person. Like if you're a mom, like being the same with your kids as you are. You can't be the same, like different with your kids as you are with your consultants. If you're a leader, you need to be the same all the way across the board. So you can't be, say, godly with your consultants and then go home and yell at your kids, basically.
I sometimes do, but not on purpose.
I mean, it's okay. Just yell at your consultants and be godly with your kids.
That's really how it should be. I mean, let's be real. We should be nicer to the people that we love the most, but no, really, it should be that we're like that with everybody.
And yes, like Becca said, you can't lead others if you can't lead yourself.
Yeah. And I really, looking back, Tracy keeps telling me like things are happening. She speaks so much life and belief into me. Like she'll just randomly text me like, Wendy, God is working. And I'm like, what happened? And she's like, nothing. He's just working. But it's true. And I just look back at from when I became a sales director almost 10 years ago and Tracy and I have a lot of these conversations because she's been with me a while. And when I think about the times that I got so frustrated because I wasn't where I wanted to be, or I got so frustrated because, from the very first day I became a sales director, I wanted to build a national area. That was my goal from day one. This is not anything new. This is a goal that I've had for over 10 years. And I've become frustrated and I'm like, God, why can't I just have these offspring sales directors? Like, where are my offspring sales directors? Where are the leaders in my business? And then, I'll go to a training and they'll be like, what are you unwilling to do? And I'm like, stop saying the same thing over and over. I'm tired of hearing it. Well, or faces take you places. Like we get tired of hearing the same things over and over, but it's what we need to hear. If it annoys you, it's what you need to hear. It's what you need to do. It's what you need to implement. And I would hear, so if you're in a season where you're struggling, God is, there's a lesson in it. And I'm like, God, just teach me the lesson. All right, I'm learning the lesson. What is it? So I can just go build directors, right? And I just look back to my heart and bless you. So my heart and like my intentions and my focus and like the thoughts that were going through my head. So the whole like, are you leading others the way that you're leading yourself? Or are you just telling them to do things that you're not even doing yourself? Are you telling them to go see 30 faces, but you've never seen 30 faces in a month? Are you telling them to hold parties to get the profit that they want, but you haven't had a party in weeks? And I was not missing the activity. That's what I think frustrated me the most, is that I always saw 30 faces. 30 was low for me. I was seeing 40, 50, 60 faces every single month. But you know what was missing? It was the people. I was in front of the people, but I didn't always really care about the people. And it's not that I came into Mary Kay with a heart of like, I hate people, although I've said that before. Said that I hate people before. I was just not in a place where my main objective was helping people. I was like, I just want to help myself. And we all come into Mary Kay for selfish reasons. I mean, there might be the random person that comes in because they really want to help people and they see this as an opportunity to help people, but I think that that's rare. I think most of us come into Mary Kay for selfish reasons, but as you become a leader and as you're building a team and building a unit, your focus does have to shift. It really does. And there are situations in my life where I look back and it's so obvious that God was in it and that he was protecting me from something or pushing me towards something else. One that I just think of all the time is when my great grandmother died, she lived in Bishopville, and her house was basically in a place where the most immediate family, like her children, they already had really nice houses. They all lived on the same road out in the middle of nowhere in Bishopville, but they all have really nice houses, and nobody that was a child of hers needed her house. So there was some, I was living in Sumter in a trailer that had mice in it. It was rough. It was bad. And I was like, I want that house. And so one of her children, which was not my grandmother because she would be biased, it was her brother, got to decide who got this house between me and I don't even know who the other person is. She's like a distant somebody. She's my family somehow, but I don't know who she is. Me and her. Well, they already had a house. We did not. We were renting. I just knew I was getting this house. Like, I was sure. I prayed about it. I was not the praying type then, but I prayed about that. And you know what? Obviously, I didn't get the house because it would have been ours and we would have been able to live there forever. And I just literally shudder to think what would happen and where I would be right now if I had gotten that house. I would be sitting in Bishopville. My husband never would have gotten the job that he got that brought us back to Columbia. I never would have joined Mary Kay. I never would have went to that Mary Kay party. So much would be different. I probably wouldn't even have Olivia. I mean, I just think about what my life might look like if I got that house that I wanted so bad. I cried about it before I even knew that it wasn't ours. I was like, God, please just give us this house. Just give us this house. And he didn't. And I'm so glad he didn't. So then I look back on things in my business. So like when I was a brand new director, so I became a director October 1st. By the end of December, we had earned our first car. By the end of March, we had earned our first Equinox. And by the end of, I don't know, not much after that, we had our first offspring sales director and a DIQ, several red jackets. We went to career conference with about 20 people that year. And I was like, yes, this is my goal. I'm building a national area. This is fantastic. I am awesome at this. Yeah, no, that is not what God wanted for me. And I never gave God the credit because I thought, like, this is because I'm seeing all these faces. Now, we do need to see the faces, but I was not ready to lead people. I was not ready to build a national area. Thank goodness we didn't keep going. I mean, even that like shudder to think what kind of leader I would be if I kept going with that attitude and that mindset. And I wasn't like prideful out like externally, but I definitely was internally. And and I wasn't even confident. I was arrogant. So I was not in a place where I should have been building a national area. And God knew that. And sometimes we have to be put in a position where we're like rock bottom. Rock bottom is different for different people in different situations. There's a difference between being rock bottom in Mary Kay and being rock bottom as a drug addict. I mean, obviously, our rock bottom is not, I'm about to die, but I definitely needed to hit rock bottom in my business to really grow and learn the things that I needed to learn to be able to rebuild the right way and rebuild strong and rebuild as a leader who has the right intentions. So after that, so we had a director, we had a DIQ. Well, that director is obviously no longer a director anymore. And I don't know, she went crazy. Like she left. Like me, not just Mary Kay. She had nothing to do with me anymore. And I'm still not really sure why. I have an idea, but it was just an interesting situation. And that DIQ, she's still in my unit. I've actually had her train recently, but she is probably never going to be a sales director. And I just think back, man, I wish that I could lead the people that I had then the way that I am now, because I know that I lead so differently. And we can't get caught up in that. We can't get caught up in, like, okay, so Becca might think to herself, man, I wish I worked my business this way when I was brand new. I'd be so much further. We can't get stuck in that. We can't get caught up in that, because God does put us in the right place at the right time for the right reason. And that applies to the other people in our unit and in our lives too. And so I I lost my equinox. Well, I didn't lose my equinox. Okay. They didn't come take it from me. I just didn't earn an equinox. After that, I earned a Chevy Cruze, which was the first level car then. So I went down a level, which that hurt my pride a lot, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to get me in the position where I needed to be to really be willing to work on me personally. That didn't actually happen until COVID, because even though I entered a relationship with God and just, spending time with God every day, and I was doing those things, I still had a lot to learn. And I still have a lot to learn. I'm not like, all right, I'm good. I've learned everything I need to learn. Now I can be a national. We never reached that achievement or that position. But when I kept hearing, like, what are you unwilling to do? What are you unwilling to do? I'm like, gosh, I wish they would quit saying that, because I'm seeing 30 faces. I'm seeing 40 faces. I'm doing the share calls. I'm teaching people how to do parties. Like, why can't they just get it together? Why can't they just go work their business? Why can't my unit just go work? Right? Well, guess what? That's not the right attitude to have either. I wasn't like, how can I help them reach their goals? How can I figure out what they want? How can I help them get what they want? I was like, why can't you just suck it up and go work? Like, who cares what happened in your life? Just go work. If you had a job, you would still have to go clock in. So you should just do that with Mary Kay too. So you know what? I had to go through some life that I struggled so hard to work my business through, for me to really get the empathy and the understanding to know, like, okay, there's times that you can't work. Or if you are, it's hard. And I need to acknowledge that when I see that in other people. So now I'm at a place where I just remember, every time I go through something hard, who's going through something hard right now in your life or in your business? Every time I go through something hard, I have to remember, one day I'm going to need to help somebody get through this same situation. One day there's going to be somebody that needs to hear that somebody has made it through the situation and come out on the other side and is still successful. Somebody needs to hear that, yeah, I was very successful as a new director, and then I wasn't. I was still a director. I've been a director this whole time. I've never not been a director. And that's a decision I made from the beginning. I will never not be a director. That's not happening. So even if I start over, I'm starting over as a director. I might say, like, okay, I need to get my 10 active to go in DIQ. And it's like it's just in my head and I'm tracking it thing. It's not I'm actually not a director anymore. So I've been a director this whole time. But these last almost 10 years, they've not all been uphill. Obviously, if they had all been uphill, I would be a national. We'd probably be in our circle right now if they were all uphill, because I had a very strong start as a new director. So if you're in a place where you're frustrated and you're like, why am I not getting the results that I want? Why do I keep hearing faces take you places? Or why do I keep hearing readers are leaders or readers? Or why do I keep hearing, what are you not willing to do? It's because we know And the people ahead of me know, like the nationals, the inner circle nationals, the top directors, the $1 million directors, they know because they've been there. Not because it's just what they've heard. It's not because it just sounds good. It's because they've been there. And I can guarantee you with 100% certainty, because I've seen this over and over and over, we can get where we want the wrong way, but we cannot stay there and we cannot grow from there. So there were times where, you know, there are things that I've done in my business that I'm like, I can't believe I did that. I've never like ripped anybody off or, you know, stolen someone's social security number to sign them up. I've never done anything like that, but I have done things that I am like definitely ashamed of. And so when you know, and it's nothing bad. Like, it's nothing like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that. But it's things where I'm like, I thought for the longest time that working this business the right way didn't work. I thought you had to put your own money in it. I thought you had to convince people to join. I thought you had to trick people into coming to skincare parties. I didn't think that the real, like what people speak from stage, you book, sell, recruit, you share the business, people join. Like, I didn't think that worked. And part of it is because the person who recruited me didn't do it the right way. And I thought, well, obviously, you know, she can't do it the right way. She's really successful. And see, that proves my point. You can get where you want with the wrong heart. You can get where you want, you know, paying your way to the top. You can pay your way to star. You can pay your way to a free car. You can pay your way to directorship. But I can guarantee you what you did to get there won't keep you there. And I saw her go from earning $12,000, $13,000 a month to not being in Mary Kay at all. So trust that when you hear leaders are readers and faces take you places and all those things that you're tired of hearing, that it's because that's what works. It's because that's our job description. It's because that's what we're supposed to be doing. And when you do this business, and Mary Kay Ash, she always said, we lead our team by example, by example, by example. And when you do that, it works. And if you don't think it works, just try it. Try it for 90 days. See 30 faces a month for 90 days and see what happens. And if it doesn't work, then I will personally apologize to you and tell you, okay, great, you're right, I'm wrong. This doesn't work. But that's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen because I've done it and I've seen so many others do it. So many. And there is a 90-day cycle. That's why I say 90 days, because the work that you're doing today will pay you in 90 days. It will not pay you today. You can't build momentum in one day. You can't build momentum in 1 week or 1 month. It has to be this 90-day cycle. So if you see 30 faces this month and then next month you see 10, guess what? You have to start over. See 30 faces a month for 90 days and see what happens. And if you're not willing to see 30 faces in a month, then why are you trying to become a leader in this company? And that is harsh. I understand that. But honestly, you can't lead. That's being a manager, right? You're telling people if you see 30 faces, you'll reach your goals. And then you're like, but I'm only going to see 5. So let's be honest. Who saw 30 faces last month? Who really saw 30 faces last month? Every single one of us should be able to raise our hand right now. So I challenge you. It is the 26th. What do we have? The 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. That's 6 days. That's almost a whole week. That's like a quarter of a month. It's a quarter of February, basically. Even if you have no faces right now, you can see 30 faces this month. So take whatever number you have right now and commit to yourself that you will see those 30 faces. Commit to yourself. You owe it to yourself and you owe it to the people that you lead. So whatever number you have, whether it's 1, whether it's 0, whether it's 10. If you've already seen 30 faces, great. See 30 more. Why not? And you might have to get creative, you guys. We all have life happening. All of us, every single one of us. It's different life for different people, but we all have life happening. So you might be like, well, I don't have 6 time slots to put 5 different people in. Well, don't. We have a Zoom party tonight at 9. You can literally have 30 people on that Zoom party. There's no limit. Our Zoom room's not going to fill up as far as I know. I mean, we've had a lot more people than that on here. So you can have your 30 faces done tonight. You can have a Facebook party next week with 30 people interacting with you. You might have to have more than one, but Becca's like, that would be fantastic. 30 people interacting with me. I might get in Facebook jail. So you can invite people to come Tuesday night. And if you're Kayla, you can host something somewhere local where you invite a whole bunch of people. And if you don't have people to invite, you can go warm chatter them. You know who's a good candidate? Anybody with skin. That's it. We make this business so hard because we're in our heads. It's not that hard. It is not that hard. And when we're in front of the right people, it becomes a lot easier. And you know, I heard, so I've been listening on the mobile learning app to the coaching and mentoring section, because so when you go on there, there's different sections. So it's like sales director zone, independent beauty consultant zone. And I don't know if everybody has access to everything or if it's just limited. Like if you're a consultant, you don't even see the director training. I'm not sure how that works, but they're under each thing. There are categories. So like under independent beauty consultant, I haven't looked at it, but I'm sure it's like selling and coaching and, you know, team building. Like there's different categories. So whatever you feel like you need the most right now, go listen to training on that. And I am going to listen to training from people who have built this business and are where I want to be, right? So I do listen to things outside of Mary Kay, like I do devotionals and I do listen to books all the time. But it's also really important to be learning from the people who have done what I want to do, because they're going to be more specific to what I need and what I'm looking for. So I've been listening to the mentoring and coaching, and that's been, I mean, like, I'm like, gosh, why have I not listened to this stuff before? And it's because prior to recently, I've been really unwilling to coach people. And there's been a lot of times over the years where I've set up coaching calls and then secretly hope they didn't call me. I know, Becca, that's crazy. It is crazy, because what we really want is our team talking to us, right? Like I would get annoyed. Like, why are you bothering me right now? You're not even working your business. So why are you calling me? That's the wrong attitude. Because sometimes they need our help to take them from where they are to where they want to be. And we'll talk about coaching a different time, maybe next week. But even if we have all the answers, we cannot tell it to people. The best way to coach people is to ask them questions. So just like when you coach your parties, you don't just say, hey, show up at Vive Church at 11 o'clock, see you then. No, because then you know what, they're not going to show up and you're going to think that they are, but really there's been no real interaction with these people. The best way to coach your parties is to ask questions. The same thing applies to your team. The best way to coach your team is to ask questions and actually listen to what they have to say. Don't interrupt them. Don't try to give them the right answer. Don't ask a question hoping that they say something in particular. Ask the questions and then listen to the answer. Really listen. We'll talk about that a different day. So we're out of time. We got to set up for muffins and makeovers. So just like I was on the new consultant training, what I want you to take away from this is you got to see the faces. You got to see the faces, because Mary Kay said we can lead by example, by example, by example. And if that's the one thing that we are doing and allowing other people to see us do, then everything else will get figured out. They will, if they're seeing faces, they will come to you and say, oh my gosh, what do I do? This lady needs something for age spots or sunspots. What do I do? Well, guess what? Now you know she's working, she's seeing faces. So she'll learn as she's seeing the faces. Or she's like, I just made 20 booking calls and nobody booked. Well, if she's attempting to see the faces, you have something to work with, because then you can say, well, what did you say? And how did you meet these people? Where did they come from? Like, you can ask questions if there's a starting point. If they're like, I'm not getting results, and you're like, well, who have you been booking? Nobody. How many faces did you see last week? None. How many leads do you have? None. Well, what do you have to work with? So the best thing that you can encourage them to do if they're really not doing the activity is to see faces. And that's the best thing that you can personally do too. So that's what I got for you today. Now we're going to go see some faces. I think we have like 5 people coming today. So yay. So I hope y'all have a great rest of your day. And I will see some of you. We have a charcoal and sparkle tonight at 9. So book people. How many people can we get? You know, Fradel, the director that was in Vivian's area, the number 3 director at our seminar, Fradel, she was talking about how she did this on a director training. Oh, by the way, I am doing the director training on Monday, so I want all of you on that are directors or DIQs. So I will be on there. So, but she was doing a director training and she was saying, I knew I needed a big shift in my business when I decided to do Million and we weren't doing a whole lot of anything. So I said, we're going to do a guest event with 100 people. This was not virtual, you guys. This was in person. And they did a guest event and there was 100 people there. So why could we not get 100 people on the Zoom tonight? Why not? And it's not going to be because we tell our unit to invite people. It's because we are doing it. So I challenge you to get some guests on the Zoom tonight. And I hope that you have a great rest of your day. And I'm sure that I'll talk to you all soon. Love you.